Begin the current Daf Mesechtes Bava Metzia Daf Pei Aleph. Begin on the bottom of Pei Amud Beis, 6 lines up on the bottom of the Amud. The Gemara continues explaining the halacha of our previous Mishnah, which we're speaking about. All the umnin are shomrei sachar, but however, the Mishnah said if he tells him something that look, I'm done, take your item, then he gets downgraded to a shomrei chinam, and the Gemara is going to qualify that halacha. Turn to the Daf, turn to today's Daf, that entire world. Some of this discussed in today's daf are, but although we said that umnin the shem esachar, of a kulin sha'amru tule shalach of a havi mois, they said like, buddy, I'm done with making your suit. Take your item and bring your money. So then these are shem echinam, which means to say because I don't need your item anymore as collateral. I'm done with what I'm doing. Now, in contrast, if he says havi mois tule shalach, bring your money and then take your item, which you could see the order there is reversed, then actually he's going to be a shem esachar because he's saying, first bring your money. I'm holding on to the suit until I get paid. So that shmira is with a schar in regards to that he's getting a benefit, so then he's going to be a shem esachar. What happens if he says gemartiv? He says, I'm done. What's that? What does that indicate? The halacha of the Mishnah that said, shama li be'esh malach. If the guy says, look, you watch for me, I'll watch for you, so then there's a shem esachar, because by watching for that guy's watching for you. However, the Gemara wants to know, why is that not called shmir b'bailam? Shmir b'bailam is that the pasuk says that if when you're borrowed someone's item and he's doing work for you at the same time, so then you're exempt because just Torah tells you that a balavimoy that you're exempt. Why is this not considered shmir b'bailam? And the Gemara also discusses regarding pshi b'bailam. Do we say that even a negligence, but if you had the owner as employed by you, would that also make you exempt? Then the Gemara discusses a few different approaches when someone wants you to watch something for him. He says, Shamarli, and V'amalei hanech lefanai. Okay, put in front of me. So that makes him into Shem Echinam. But if, let's say, Amalei hanech lefanecha, he says, put in front of you. So then, Shem Echinam, Shem Esachar, he's not a Shem Echinam, he's not a Shemer at all. He's saying, like, okay, put it down in front of you. What do you want from me? The Gemara wants to know, what's with hanech stama? What's it just says, put it down? It doesn't say in front of me or in front of you. What would the halacha be in that situation? So begin the current daf, the bottom of Pei Amud Beis, 6 lines up at the bottom of the Amud, the Gemara quotes from the Mishnah. As we had said, our previous Mishnah, which we're talking about Hasaycher, we spoke about the word Hasaycher for a while, and now we're talking about the Omnin word now. So we said in our Mishnah, Kol Omnin Shem Yisacharhen, a craftsman who accepts someone's item for repair, he has the status of a shomer that's being paid while it's in his possession, and therefore if the item was lost or stolen, he's liable to pay the owner. That's what the Gemara discussed. If a Saycher, what status is that, like Remeir or not? And the Gemara was explaining why he has the halacha like a Shem Esachar. Now the Gemara says, the Mishnah said, V'kulan sha'amru. However, although he has a Shem Esachar, this, let's say, tailor, this mechanic, or whatever it is, but when he says, Tula shalach v'havi mais, here, take your item, I'm done with it, bring your money, so then Shem Echinam gets downgraded to a halacha of a Shem Echinam, because the Uman indicated he doesn't want to guard the item anymore. He's like, he's done with this. Now, the Gemara quotes that will relate back to the halacha of the Mishnah, it's not Hasam. We learned in the Mishnah later on in Perek Shad of Tzaddik Chesem Beis that says like this: Amaloi Shoyel, if let's say a borrower, a different case, a borrower says Shalach that you should send to me through your servant or through your agent an item that I want to borrow from you. V'shilcha, and the owner of the object sent it through that shliach. Umeis, and it died in a normal way as it was on the journey. Before he even entered into the borrower's house, chayiv, the shoyel, the borrower is going to be liable in the einsim, let's say, anything that happens even beyond his control, like the animal dying. Why? The moment that the owner gave it over to the agent through the command of the borrower, so then that shoyel is already chayiv in einsim. Now, if the borrower had not told him, Shalach, send it. It's just that the lender sent it to him when the guy said, lend me your cow, and he says, yes, and he got up and he sent it himself and it died on the road, then they'd be potter. But since it was because of the guy told him, send it, so then it's through the shlichus, even though it's really the owner sending it, but it was through the agency of the shoyel. If anything happens already, even on the journey, the shoyel is going to be chayiv. And says the Mishnah, B'chein b'shosha machzira. Same thing is on the way back. If the borrower sends it in with an agent to return it to the owner, and the owner did not tell him, send it to me through that guy, the borrower is sending it back, and it dies, he's going to be chayav because it didn't yet make it into the possession of the mashal of the owner. That's what the Mishnah says over there. On that, Amar Papa Amar Chizda, he qualifies. He says, "Loishon, we didn't learn that the shoyl is going to be chayav until he makes it back to the hand of the mashal to the owner. Only if he's giving it back during the days of how much the loan had been for, which means he told him, lend it to me until that time. And then within that time frame, he returns it. Oh, so then the borrowing time has not been finished yet until it actually gets back to the hand of the owner. But let's say the time for the borrowing has expired. And the guy holds on to it to the last day, and it's got to give it back. He's like late in giving it back. Then patur. Then, as Rashi explains, not only is he patur on the journey back, even in the house of the borrower, if it dies, once the days of the loan has expired, he's not a shoyl anymore. And then, so Rav Chizda qualifies, the halacha of that Mishnah wouldn't apply anymore. He would not be chayv v'naintzin. However, Master Rav Nachman Papa from our Mishnah. That's why we're bringing in this Mishnah. Why bring it in? Because our Mishnah said, "V'kul ansha amru." We said all these craftsmen, if they said "Tule shalach b'havi mois," I'm done. Take your item and bring me the money. We said shoy mechinam. He's now considered not a shoy mesachar anymore. He's considered an unpaid custodian. And the Rashi says the reason is because Goli Daite, he's revealing his intention. Shein Chafetz Liyas Oit Shemeleit doesn't want to be a shamer anymore. I don't have no need to watch this. So he's like watching for free. But as you continue to have a pei aleph and aleph, it sounds like hagemartiv. But if he just says I finished, he didn't say take your item, bring your money. He didn't say I'm done already. I mean, he didn't say I don't want to do this anymore. He just says I'm done. That would sound like that is a Shem Sacher. He would be a paid custodian. And that we wouldn't say that since the owner knows that the days of the craftsmanship is finished and he didn't send and bring it, that the Shemer is going to be pater. We don't say that. We say he'd still be chayiv. Oh, so by the borrower also, even though the owner knows that the days of the loan is finished, you still consider it as a shayl. Only if he's explicitly expressing and saying, I don't want to, okay, we're going to downgrade you to Shem Mechinim. But up until then, if you just say, I'm done, okay, we know you're done, but you'll still be Shem Mesacher. So you're also by the Shayel. Why is Rav Chizda qualifying the halacha, that Mishnah in Shayel, by saying that, once it's over, it's done? That doesn't mean anything. You see from our Mishnah that even if you're done, unless you're explicitly saying, I don't want to take your money, that you will still be with all your chiyuvim or whatever shemer you are. Says the Gemara, Loi. No, don't be medayik. Don't infer from our Mishnah that if he says gemartiv that I finished, that you're still a shem sacher. No, the inference you should make from our Mishnah is the inverse of what we're saying. But if he says first have ma'is, the first thing he says, bring your money, and then he says betula shalach and take your item. Here. He's already revealing his intention that he wants to hold on to it for his payment. He's trying to show, look, brings the guilt, you'll get the item back. Then Shem Esacha. That's when he's going to be Shem Esacha. Okay, says him, wait a second. So what are you talking about? Gemarta, but if he said, I finished, what would halacha be? You want to say, to resolve for Rav Chizda, that you're right, then Shem Mechinim, he would be a Shem Mechinim. Because as long as he's not revealing his intention, and we don't have evidence to say that he's holding on to it for the money, so then his shmira of pay for the work that he's doing would be finished because he notified him. So then you want to say for the borrower also that his shmira of shela would be done when the owner knows that the loan has expired. And there he doesn't have to be notified because he knows that the loan was for a certain amount of days. So again, that's what you want to say to resolve for Rav Chizda. Says the Gemara, if that's the case, Adatani, then instead of our Mishnah saying, V'kulon sha'amru tuleh shalach b'havi mois, which was the quote we just quoted from our Mishnah, that we said, but all umnin, that if they say, hey, take your item, bring your money, is a shemechinam, why do you have to say that case? Say a bigger chiddush. Nashmin, you should say, gemartiv, I finished. If For sure, when you say, take your item, Habibi, come, take it. No, I said, just, I finished. If over there you're ready shemechinam, kol shekain, the case of Tol Shalach. So why would you say that case as the case in our Mishnah? Says the Gemara, no, there is a necessity for that. Tol Shalach, itzrachalei. We needed the case of, hey, take your item. Why? So you would have thought to say, yeah, when you say, I finished, then you become a shemechinam. Because you didn't notify so much, but you told me I finished. But that you would think by the case of when he says, take your money and bring me the take your item and bring me the money, that he's not even a shem anymore. Kamashon, as the Chiddush said, no, that he's not holding on to it for the payment is what he's telling him. But as a deposit, that he's not removing himself. He says, I'll still watch it for you, but I'm doing you a favor. I'm doing it for free. That's the Chiddush in saying the case of Tula Shalach, V'havei Asamayis, to say that he's at least a Shem Mechinam. But to get downgraded? No, downgraded, you even get downgraded, even if it's just a Gemaltiv, and if it's not a contradiction on Rav Chizda. Right. You're saying if he would have a chiv to get it back, would that still make him a shayl? But see, Rashi's talking about even in his house, he says he's not even a shayl anymore. Forget about it on the journey back. He says it's over. It's over. The time of the loan is over. What? So it may be, but I'm not a shayl anymore. What? No. It's come, take it, pick it up, whatever. You want to know if I have an obligation? Fine, I'll pay for the. I hear. It's a good shayla. I mean, what is that obligation that he has to return the Baal Kaplan? He's not a shayla anymore. Not a shayla. So in the Chadami, so that's what. No, so in the Chadami, that's what we're going to discuss in 1 second. Right. Yeah. So the Gemara is going to discuss this actually in a moment. Actually, this exact point that you're bringing up. But first, the Gemara says ikadami, that those that say the opposite, that those that said that Amar Menachem ben Papa, he says Afana Nama Tanina. The Gemara wasn't asking on Rav Chizda from our Mishnah. The Gemara was actually supporting him from our Mishnah. Why? Because the Gemara is assuming the opposite. Our Mishnah said, all them that say Tula Shalach. If the craftsman says, hey buddy, I finished, take your item. Bring me the money. That he's not a Shem Misachem or Sheitz Shem Mechinam. My lab hua din gemartiv. This version of the Gemara understands that saying I'm done would be the same. But why? Then why do you pick Tula Shalach? So Rashi says, this version understands to tell you that, as we just said before, that he's at least a Shem Mechinam by the case of Tula Shalach. But to get downgraded, yeah, even Gemara would be the same. And that's the Gemara. Loi, no, Tula Shalach Shani. Take yours is different because, again, that would be saying, I don't want to be anymore. Then you get downgraded. But Gemara maybe would be still a Shemer Sacher. A third version, Huna Mar Bar Meremer was Kamei de Ravina. And he was Rami Masnitna Adodi Umeshani. He posed a contradiction on Mishnais, and he answered it. Tanan, on the one that we have our Mishnah that says, V'kulan Shomer Tula Shalach. All of the craftsmen, if they say, take your item, bring the money. He's a Shemechinam. V'hu then it would sound like Ligamarta would be the same thing. That of course, yeah, you say I'm done, so I'm not watching this anymore. I'm a Shemechinam. But we said Tula Shalach as a chiddush the other way, that to say he's at least a Shemechinam over there. On that, but there seems to be contradiction from the Mishnah. The bar said to him, Shalach, send it, Vishilcha, and he sent it, Umeisa, and it dies, Chayiv is Chayiv, and V'chein, B'shosh Machzira, also when he's returning it, meaning, as long as the lender didn't tell him to send it, it's still in the possession of the borrower, just like at the time of the loan, it's in the possession of the lender until the borrower says to send it, and this Gemara's version assumes that we're talking about once the days of the loan has concluded, which is similar to Gemartiv, which I'm done, and still you see here you're going to be Chayiv. That contradicts our Mishnah that says you're going to be Pater. Mashani on that, the answer was Amar Papa Rav Chizda, which we quoted Rav Chizda's teaching before, that no, Lo Yishanu, we didn't learn this halacha on the Mishnah Daf Tzadiches Ela Sheikh Zebetech Mishelasa. If it's returning it during the days of the loan, of course, then you can be Chayiv, because that's not Gemartiv. Because you're still a shayl. But you're right, if it's after the days alone, then potter, then you can be potter like gemartiv, which would be exactly like this version's understanding is the halacha of our Mishnah. which when you're done, then you're not with your regular chiyuvim anymore. And again, Tula Shaloch was only said to tell you that you're at least a Shem Echinim. You would have thought you're totally potter. Now, your question that you asked before, the Gemara asked now. The following question. Potter, this that you're telling me, that if it's after the loan is expired, you borrowed it till Thursday, it's already Friday, you're schlepping, and then something in Einis happens. So you're telling me that you're potter. Potter? Well, I was asking, why would you be potter? If anything, you're worse than a regular shayl. So the question is like this. When you're potter, is it mishayl? Are you potter only from einzin? Because you're not a borrower anymore. I'm not a borrower. But v'chayiv kishay mesachar. But you're still getting benefit, but whatever it is that you are watching it, and you would be chayiv gneva v'aveda? Like dimah shem mesachar never. No. Maybe you're not even going to be like a paid custodian. And maybe it sounds like from the Gemara you would be a Shem Echinam because according to everyone you have to watch it, but you're doing it for free, you're doing a favor, look, or whatever, I got to get it back to you, but I'm not a... So, but the shayla the Gemara is asking is, what are you saying you're pater from? Of Einzin as a shayl, but you chayiv of a shmir b'sar mesacha, or that no, you're not even chayiv of a gneva of a veda. So Amar Meimer says that mistabra, the logic would tell us that pater mishayl and v'chayiv k'shem mesacha. That he's only potter from the halacha of borrowing, but he'd be chayiv from the way that Hashem Esach is chayiv. Why? But he's not getting he's not using it anymore. He's just watching it until he gets it back. I know he has to make sure that he gets it back. But the reason is, says the Gemara, Hoil Benenem, since he had the benefit during the loan, Mahana Hava, he wants to give benefit back. He'll say, I'll be a shomer sacha until it gets back to the hand of the owner. So, as if I'm getting some benefit, which he's not, he's watching for free. Yeah, he was a shayl, but now the shayl is over, I'm not using it anymore, I got to get it back. So, but Al Kaponim, that was the Gemara's question. The Gemara is saying, yes, he'll be considered as a shomer sacha because of the fact that he wants to benefit him. And the Gemara says, Tani Gavasei Da Meimer, we have a brayse that says, like a Meimer, for this halacha, that after the loan is over, he's going to be patur from she'ela, but it'll be chayiv like a shem esacha. Because the Brisa says, alikeach kelim beis umen. Interesting case. Someone takes vessels from a craftsman. He goes into the pottery house. He goes into the silver store. And he buys vessels, l'shagan l'beis chamav, to send it to his father-in-law's house. This is what's called savloinus, which are the gifts. When he's engaged, he gives to his harusa. So the girl is engaged, she sends to the family all this beautiful stuff, nice silver vase, all these things. Bava Metzia tells the proprietor like this. If they're going to take it from me, they're like, wow, what an item, beautiful, it fits right into the table. And I'm going to pay you for the money, how much it costs. But if not, they don't like it, they go, this doesn't pass for our family, this is not, we don't really like it, machmet the news. And he says, I'm going to pay you according to the benefit of pleasure that I get from it. What does that mean? So the Rashi explains is that they're gonna thank me that I gave them these gifts. They're not gonna want it. Say, oh, it's such a nice gesture. It was really beautiful, whatever. But it doesn't fit into our decor. So I'll pay you that. And then an answer. So this was the situation. Now, something beyond his control happened, and the thing broke, or whatever it is, annoyingness happened. So, says the Brisa like this. Behalicha, if it was on the way to the Shver, for that Shabbos of Gan Eden, so that's going to be Chayiv. He's going to be liable. Why? Because since he set a price on these items, right, the store has prices on these items, and he had done Meshicha, he took it for the purposes of buying it, so it's considered bought in his hand, until we know that it's not bought. And this is how the Gemara says in Bava Metzia Daf, Shmuel says if someone purchases a vessel from a craftsman on the intention of checking it out, if it doesn't have any blemishes, he's keeping it, and then as he's holding on to it, boom, the whole thing just shatters, an oinus, he's chayiv, as long as it had a set price. So here, if it was on the way to the shver, he's going to be chayiv. But chazira pater, but it was on the way back, he's coming back from that Shabbos, and then there's an accident, and then this piece of silver broke, he's going to be pater. Why? Nishu k'neisei sachar, because on the way back, he's like a paid custodian and not like a shayl. what makes him into a shomer sacher? Because since he had benefit that he was able to glorify himself by the shver and the shviger and say, look what I got for you. So therefore, although he's not a shayel, he didn't buy it anymore. He's on his way back because obviously he didn't buy it. He's going to return it. But a shomer sacher bistuyas. That's where the Bryce is saying like a maimer, that although that he's paying him according to the Torah. I said it's a $50 worth that I came with this $10,000 item. They didn't want it. It's worth for me $100 that they were like, wow. To get that shkayach from them would be worth for me $100. So he's paying them for that. Still, after his shmir of the mekach is really over, he's still chayiv like a shomer sacher because since he had benefit from this item, so therefore he maintains at least somewhat a lower level. He really should be chayiv in einzin, like we said on the way there he's chayiv in einzin. The way back, already he's done. He's coming to return it. Okay, l'maisa benefit. I'm going to have halacha shomer sacher. So that's for sure by a loan where the guy's not giving anything. For sure, even though once it's done, but a modicum of reciprocity, you should obligate yourself that you're going to be more than just a shem mechinim. You're going to be a shomer sacher. That's what you see in the brisa like a meimer. So now the Gemara brings a story related to this halacha. Who gavra? There's a certain person, the zavan lechamer lechavre. He sold wine to his friend. So Amalei said to him, "Kamamtina le'leduchta ploini." He said to the guy at the wine store, he says, "Look, I'm going to Orlando, and im is davna mutav. If I'm going to go ahead and sell this, fine, it's good. The oil over there, the oil doesn't have the quality we have over here in Lakewood. If it gets sold, fine. Going with a U-Haul. If not, I'm going to bring it back to you. I have no purpose having all these boxes of wine." So Azal b'lo is davna. He went, it didn't sell. The oil wasn't interested over there. He was drinking kedem grape juice the whole time. Now, on his way back home, there was an accident on the 95, and all the bottles of wine, it was an einus, all of it got ruined. So also came to Rav Nachman. Said the guy who was driving the U-Haul, the guy who took it to Orlando, he said, "You're chayiv to pay." And that the Gemara says, how could that be? Eitzvi Rabbi Rav Nachman, he says, what do you mean? Didn't the Brisa say this item that was going to the shver, Nenzu was an einus, we said, Balicha chayiv. On the way there, he's chayiv because he's possibly going to sell it. So we said, as long as there's a possible mekach, we treat it as a vade mekach, and you're chayiv in the leinzen. We say, on the way back, we say, you're part of a leinzen. We say, okay, you're not a shemachin. We say, you can be shemachin. That was the point where we brought in this brisa. But you're only a shemachin. You're not considered like chayiv and einzin. So here the guy with the wine he was on the way back. He's coming to return it to the store on the 9. And why are you holding him chayiv and einzin? So Malay says, no, you're making a mistake. This is a different case. Chazara dahai, this guy's returning, halichahi, is the same equivalent as on the way there. My time, what's the it was over. He tried to take it to Orlando, it didn't work, he's on the way back. No, svarhu, it's a logic. Bechazir on his way back. Ilo ashkach lezvune. If he would stop in Virginia, and then in Virginia he meets these people that haven't seen good kosher wine in a long time. Milo Zavna, wouldn't he sell it? Until he gets back to the wine store in Lakewood, he would sell it to anybody. He's trying to make $1 off this wine. So it's also considered a halicha. It's not considered, the guy went to the shver, that's it. The shver didn't want it, he's on the way back. He has nothing to do with it. Here the guy who's selling the wine, it's his chazar is halicha, and that's why he's going to be chayiv in the oinsin. The halacha of the Mishnah said that if, let's say, two people made an agreement, shoma li ve'esh malach, that each one's going to guard the other one's item. So the Mishnah said that shomer sacher, that each one is considered shomer sacher because each one's benefiting that the other one's going to guard his item as well. And therefore, if it gets stolen, he's going to be chayiv. Says the Gemara, a basic question. How could this be? Vamai, why? Shmira b'baylam he. This is considered that the owner of the object that his item was stolen was employed as a shomer for the other guy because he was watching for him. Now the Torah tells us in Shmais Chav Beis, im ba'olav imay, if the owner is employed with you at the time that you have his item, lo yeshalem, you don't pay. And the Gemara darshans later on, the Tzadik Dalid, that imay, what does it mean the owner is with you? It doesn't mean he happens to be walking with you. It means imay b'malachta, he's working with you. Now that pasuk is talking about a shoyel. The Gemara later on Daf Tzaddik Hey, darshans it goes on all Shoymim. So over here, when this guy is watching for him and he's watching for him, so each one is employed by the other one. It's a ball of imoy. How could you tell me that you're chayiv as a Shomer Sacha? You're not chayiv in anything because you have ball of imoy. He's working for you as you're working for him. So you should be pater. So, what? No, it doesn't have to do with him. But they're working. He's working. He's employed. It doesn't have ima b'malach. They hit down arbit. So he's watching for you. Yeah. Yeah, that's what we can talk about, yeah. He's working for him, yeah. It doesn't have to be standing next to him. I mean, we'll see that over there, but even if, let's say that that's the case, it sounds like that as long as he's employed by him, he's going to be pater. Sama Papi says, no, you're right. It's not talking about that they were doing it at the same time. You watch for me today, I'll watch for you tomorrow. So right now, he's not employed by you. So therefore, that doesn't qualify for Mbal Avimai. It's not now at the time of your of you when you're watching his object. He wasn't working for you at that time, and therefore that's why you can be chayv. Similarly, says the Gemara, turn about in a brisa. Let's say someone says Shamar li ve'esh malach. Watch for me, I'll watch for you. Hisheleni ve'eshilcha. Lend me, and I'll lend you. So he's not considered as a shoyel in this case to be chayv and einzin, because it's actually the reason why a shoyel is chayv and einzin is because what's called kol hana shaloi. Here, it's not all the benefit is his because he's actually lending something back to him. So it wouldn't be considered as a shoyel, be more like a shemer sacher, as the Bryce as Rav Papa teaches, and as the Bryce says. Or let's say Shama li ve'eshelcha. If you watch this for me, and I'll lend this to you. Again, each one is doing a service to the other one. Hishalani, lend me ve'eshmalach, and I'll watch for you. So kula nasu shemer sacher zelazeh. They're all shemer sacher, as we said. Even though there's loans over here, it's really like a shemer sacher because he's giving something back to that. So they're both shemer sacher. The Gemara asked the same question we asked on our Mishnah. V'mai. But why? As Rashi explains, the Gemara's question is going on the case of Shamar li ve'esh malach. On that case, which is the case of our Mishnah, why are you going to be chayv as a shemer sacher? Shmir b'bailam hi. Both of them are employed by the other one, because as Rashi explains, the other cases of lend me your tools and I'll lend you my tools, or you watch for me my car and I'll lend you my booster, or you lend me your car and I'll watch for you yours, then you don't have the bailam of the chayfetz in the malacha of the shomer. You have to have that the bailam of the chayfetz are employed in the malacha of the shomer. You only have that in the case of shamar li ve'esh malach. So be that as it may, on that case, why don't you say shmir b'bailam hi? That Rabbi Papa says, he said, you watch me today, I'll watch me tomorrow. So they get on either one's object, you're not having the other one employed at the time of that shmira. Yeah, I don't know what the chiddush is. If there's a chiddush really in the mesach or shabai, what's the chiddush of this? Yeah, I guess that's considered as a payment. Yeah, because that was really the case of our Mishnah. What was our Mishnah teaching in the ikar halacha of Shamar li ve'esh malach? That maybe that itself is considered as a payment of services, making you into a shemer sacher. Now the Gemara brings the story of Hanu Ahaloi. Because that seems to be this type of stories that we're going to bring. What's the story? There is these people that would sell oil, which is a type of a detergent to launder garments. It's a type of herb. Some say it's a type of besamim, type of a fragrant spice. Be that as it may, it's some type of a mineral or detergent or whatever. That these people who produce this, the chol yomah have a offer leichad b'nayer. Every single day, one of them would be baking for the rest of them. There was a certain day that they said to one of them, Zil afilon, go bake for us. We said to them, no problem, just not really glimai. Do me a favor, watch my jacket. It's a hermé. It's one of these new. Do me a favor, watch my jacket. The asa, by the time he comes back, pashuba, as oftentimes happens, they were negligent. They didn't pay attention to what he asked. Vignev, and his beautiful new jacket was stolen. Now, the Gemara assumes right now that this day that they asked him to bake was actually his day. Everyone has a day; they have to be the one baking. Now, what that means to say is that they are only shoymim on his talis like a shemechinam. They were doing him a favor. No problem. We'll watch your jacket, but they're not getting anything in return because it's his day to bake. He's not doing a service for them as a favor. So we're right. So that's what I say. That's why it's necessary. This next point. That's why the case was necessary to say that they were negligent, because those are the words that we're saying said by when the time he came back. Pashuba, they were negligent, and they were stolen. Because if they weren't negligent, then they wouldn't be chayiv. So they were negligent and they were stolen. So also coming to Rav Papa, they came from Rav Papa. Chayvinu, you're liable. You guys were negligent, so therefore you can be chayiv. Amr le Rabban Rav Papa, but the rabbi said to Rav Papa, Amai, why? Pshia bebaylam he. Even if they were negligent, he was doing a service for them. He was working for them, and even if there's a pshia, but the Torah says, "Balavimoy lo yishalem." You don't have to pay. So why are you being mechayev them for the jacket that they were watching if he was working for them at that same moment? Yes, that's what the Gemara is going to discuss in a second. So ichsef. Well, that's what the Gemara is going to discuss in a second. But seemingly, it would be potter from everything because the Torah says lo yishalem. Doesn't say just by einsin, and actually the halacha is not only by shol; it's by all the shayrim, as the Gemara is going to say later on the parak of shayil. So it says this ichser. Rav Papa was embarrassed that he took a paskin wrong. L'seifik loy milsa. At the end, it was revealed that actually the ahu shaited that moment actually shikr habakashasi. Actually, the guy who was supposed to go bake. He didn't go bake. He took a nice long lunch break, went to the pub, and was drinking a beer. And he was not employed by them. So since he didn't start yet baking, comes out that when they were made into shomrim, he had not yet given himself over to do work for them. He didn't have bal of imay. Because as Rashi explains, if it was the other way around, if let's say he went right away to bake, and let's say after he baked, he was drinking a beer, and at that time when he was drinking a beer, the talus was lost, that would be considered pshia b'baylam. Because since when they became shoymim, he was employed for them. The Gemara tells us later in the Tzadahim Beis, as long as it was with them at the time of the loan, he doesn't have to be employed by them at the time when it breaks or when it dies. As long as the time of when it took effect, he was employed by them, he can be pater. So it's specifically that he got a beer before he went to do the work. So therefore, turns out that actually Papa's psak was correct because there was no balavim. But says the Gemara the following question. This makes sense according to the one that says within Perek HaShoel, Pshia b'baylim, pater, which is a question that was just brought up, that even for negligence, if the owner is employed by you, you're going to be pater, shemacha yichsef. That's why your Papa was embarrassed. But Alamadam, according to the one that says when you have a Pshia b'baylim, chayiv, you're going to be liable because we didn't say a patur when you have the owner working for you, only by a shoyl and a shemesachar, which their negligence is even without, with their liability is even without negligence. But a shemechinam, where his liability is only with a negligence, no, then you're not patur because the owner is employed by you, because you were negligent. So then you would be chayiv. So why was your Papa embarrassed? We didn't exempt for a pshia. Says the Gemara, Ella, rather, you're right. The case is not the way we understood. That day, that was not his day to do work. They asked him specially a favor. Zil afilon at, you go bake for us. When he said to them, "Hu agra the kafin and the wages that I'm gonna as payment that I'm gonna bake for you, netur glimai, watch my jacket." That makes them into shomrei sachar. Shomrei sachar is what their status they had. So as the Gemara continues on Beis, Ad the Asa, until he came back, Igniv, it was stolen without Peshia. They weren't negligent. It's the category of a geneva and aveda. And then also coming to Papa, he said they're liable because of geneva of shemer sachar. And that's what Amar Rabban Papa they says. Vos heis hashmira b'bailim he, not pshia. It's of the geneva. On that he should be potter because he was employed with them. On that ichsef he was embarrassed. On that l'sevik loy milsa that he shait the shicha b'kashasi. He was having a beer at that time. And there was not bibailim, and therefore that's why they were chayiv, because it was not pshia, you're right, pshia bibailim, you would be chayiv. The reason why he was embarrassed was because it was shmir bibailim, it's just a regular geneva, and that he was saying that it was not bibailim.
I'm going to deliver the bread, you deliver the watching the garment. And that the garment was not watched. So he delivers the bread, okay, and where is my garment back? He did it for me for free. We agreed on a price.
No, but this is not. He was.
No, but he didn't end up making it in the end. Another,
But it wasn't a service. These are guys. He's that.
Why the Gemara is asking a shayle that's bowl of imoy that he did the work, but he made a condition. You're gonna watch my garment.
I don't know if it was a condition. He said. He said watch. Yeah, I'm saying as. He's saying that's the shomer sachar shabbat. He's saying you guys are shomer sachar. I'm paying you for your shmira.
So that's the paying. Well, the paying if you don't watch.
Yeah, he paid. No. I'm saying, but
they were paying for him with the bread by watching the garment.
He was paying them.
He was paying them
for the bread, and they watch. So they're shomer sachar. Now they're chayav for gneva aveda. But at the halacha of Ba'al of Imai would apply.
Would the Havemini would be of the Rabbuno that the Shmira Bebailim, if the condition was, I'll make the bread, you but the halacha.
It's only because if it's at the same time.
They have to be the same.
Yeah, exactly, right. That's the difference, right? I mean, you're saying that of course he's going to do the work, but that's only if it's at the same time. Then, if at the time that the actual Shmira started, the guy was employed by you, then you potter because of Ba'al Avimai.
But the Choyim from the Guris Mashma, that wasn't the case because no Lesofik lo Emilse, but what was
No, he just didn't know. He did. Papa himself.
That was if he did it at the same time, then why so it's Mashma no okay the Lesofik lo Emilse, but that was the condition. Why is it not there mechuyev to watch it properly when he is doing bread? Right through later we found out that he drank beer. But at the Mahise, we didn't know that. So
he made a mistake. Rav Papa made a mistake.
What's the shaila of the Chacham? Okay.
No, Rav Papa made a mistake, and the Chacham would be right that if he started baking right away, then they would be potter. This that he was mechayim, he made a mistake. But it turns out he was right because of the fact that Itaka wasn't employed at that time, and he was Taka having a beer. Now, the Gemara brings another similar story, also related to this idea. Hanu Beit Trey. There were these two people that were Komazki Ba'orcha. They were traveling on the road. Chad Arch v'chad Gutza. One was a tall guy, one was a short guy. The tall guy was riding a donkey. Bavalei Sedina. And he had like a jacket of a cloak of linen. Now, water doesn't weigh down the linen garment so much. But the Gutza, the short guy, was Michsi Sarbala. He was wearing coats, glufkuda. It was made out of wool. And it absorbs a lot of water. And it gets very heavy. So that's why the Gemara is going to tell us he took off his wool coat and he wanted to wear the linen garment. So, but V'komaski Bikar, he was walking by foot. So you have this picture, this odd couple. One guy is this tall Lakshan. He's riding on the donkey, and you have this short guy wearing the wool coat, walking near along him. Now, when they came to the river, Shakle L'Sarbale. So this short guy took off his wool coat. He put onto the donkey. V'shakle Sadina. He took the other guy's linen jacket, and he covered himself with that. And they're going through the river. But what happened was that the water flooded and took off the linen jacket downstream. So he lost the guy's linen jacket. So also coming from the Rabbah, Chayve, he held them liable for what happened to the guy's jacket. Why? At the time of the loan, the owner was doing work for the borrower because his donkey was carrying that guy's wool jacket, and he took it through the stream on his donkey. So he should be parted because of Ba'al Avimai. So Ichsav, so Rava was embarrassed. At the end, they ended up coming out, the Beloy Daite Shakle. He actually took it without his awareness, and without his awareness, he put it on. So there was no Bebailim over here because he had no awareness of that. And therefore, that's why the short guy who borrowed was going to be chayiv. Another story says, there was a certain person, he lent his donkey to his friend. Now, Amalei said to him, Chazi, I want you to see like this. You cannot go on the road by the river of Pekaid, because there's water over there, and I don't want something happening to my donkey. I only let you go on the road of Narish where there's no water. Now, of course, the guy went by the road of Nahar Pekaid, which was the road he told him not to go, and the donkey died. When he came, he says, yes, I went on the road you didn't want me to go to, but there was no water. You only didn't want me to go to because there's water. There was no water over there. So Rava says the following principle. We know in Talmudic literature, Mali l'shaker. What should I lie for? Meaning, if he wanted, he could have said, I went in the road that you want me to go to. I don't know if it's Chlas B'Shia. He guy saw there was no water. You mean as if he would have thought? No, but I'm saying it didn't die from water. The guy's saying there was. Yeah, but it's. I don't know if there was a Tchilas B'Shia here. He guy said there was no water. There was no. He saw there was no water. He's saying there's no water over here. So what?
Why isn't he just referencing the place?
What do you mean?
Calling out because of the water?
He said, don't take that highway because there's accidents on the highway and you're going to get in a car accident. He says, go the other road. It says, I went there was no accidents, nothing happened. Actually, the car ended up overheating, so that's the car just blew up. But nothing to do with what you told me. So Rabbi says, yeah, we believe you. We believe you that it died not from water because of Mal L'Shaka. Why should you lie for? You could have said you went on the other road. And you would have been believed. But Abai says, no. Mal L'Shaka b'mokim edim. The principle of migui, of why should I lie, when it's contradicted by witnesses, because Rashi says, what witnesses? There's a halachic idea of what's called a non-sahadi. We testify, the world testifies. We know that road always has water. Lo yamrinan, so when it's contradicted by witnesses, we don't say a migui of mal l'shaker, and therefore you're not going to be believed, and you are going to be chayiv for taking it in the wrong road. And we do assume that there was water, because you're not going to be believed in mal l'shaker. Now the Mishnah says, if let's say the guy said, Shomerli, watch it for me. And the guy says, okay, hanech lefan, put it in front of me. The halacha shemechinu has a halacha like an unpaid custodian. However, Amar Rav Huna says, but amaloi hanech lefanecha. Let's say it says, put in front of you. He's not a paid nor unpaid custodian. He's not a shomer at all. Because since it's in front of you, he's basically saying, yeah, put it down and you watch it. Now, the following question, however, hanech shtamama. What's halacha if it just says, put it down? Didn't say not in front of me and not in front of you. So the Gemara says Tashmat, being arrived from our Mishnah. Our Mishnah said, if let's say it says Shomer, watch it for me. V'malein says Hanech lefon, put it in front of me. Then he's a shemechin, he's an unpaid custodian. Doing a favor, no problem, but for free. Now Hastama sounds like if he didn't say in front of me, sounds like v'loy klum. That would have no validity at all. So the Gemara, no, Adrabah, to the contrary. But Ravuna says, but if you say Hanech lefonecha, when the guy says put in front of you. Who? That's where the case that you're not a paid nor an unpaid because you're not a shomer at all. Sounds like hostama. You didn't say lifanecha. You didn't say like this. Okay, put it in front of you. Just to put it down. It would sound like shemachina, but you would be an unpaid custodian. So you must say, right, we can't infer because there are contradictory inferences. We wouldn't be able to learn it out from our Mishnah. Says Gemara, okay, but Lema, let's say that this halacha of stama, when you just say put it down, is actually katanois and machlekes tanoim, which is a Mishnah in Baba Kamad of Mimzanim and Alf. The Mishnah is talking about by a kader, a potter, that brought his pots into someone's property, and the ox of the homeowner broke it. Or let's say he brought his ox into the guy's property, and the owner's ox gored his ox. Or he brought his produce into the guy's property, and the guy's animal ate it up. Either way, says the Mishnah like this. Im hichnes b'shus, if the guy who brought it in had permission, the owner of the courtyard is going to be chayiv in the damages. Because when he told him bring it in, he was telling him bring it in and I'll watch it for you. Same thing would be when you say put it down in the street, would be put it down and I'll watch it for you. That's what it sounds like from the Tanakama. Rabbi Yomi says no. Bekulon in a chayiv. Regarding all these cases, you're not going to be chayiv. Lishma, until he explicitly accepts the responsibility to watch it. Because when he says bring it in, he says bring it in and you watch it. So that would sound like the same thing in the case of Hanukkah, put it down. When the guy tells him put it down in the street, he'd say put it down and you watch it. So seemingly this shaila of put it down is the same shaila of of come inside my property, is the shaila. Does that mean I'm taking responsibility or not? Is a machlekes tanoim. The Gemara says no mimai. Where do you know this from? I could tell you each one is not necessarily the case. Why? Because Dilma can like come Rabban Hasan. Maybe over the Rabban say that you're going to be chayiv, the owner of the property, when you tell the guy bring it in. Is ela b'chatzer, because it's talking about a case of a courtyard. The bas niturihi, it's a protected place. Meaning, why is the guy wanting to bring it into your property? He wants it to be protected, where there's no effort in protecting it. So when you tell them bring it in, he's saying bring it in because I'll protect it. Because it's not difficult for me to watch it in my property anyway. That's why he's going to be chayav. But over here in the case we're discussing in our Mishnah, where it's a shukah, it's in the street. It's not a protected area. So anach v'tiv notur loch kamalei. When he says put it down, he's saying and you watch it because it's not the same thing as it's not the equivalent of telling God to bring it into your courtyard. Or you could say the other way also. You could say ad kan lekam Rabbi Hasam. Where do we find over there Rabbi saying that the owner is going to be pater? It's only in the case of his courtyard, because the guy has to ask permission, because it's private property. So when he gives him permission, he's saying, yes, you can bring it in, but you watch it. It's just like it's an easier area for you to watch, but you need permission to enter. But here, when the guy says, Hanach, put it down, and he's saying, but I'm going to watch it. Why? Because if you think to say Hanach v'tiv v'notar kamalei, that he's saying, yeah, put it down and you watch it. If it's to put it down, I need permission from you to put my item down the street and that I should watch it. Must be, if you're saying Hanach, you mean put it down and that you'll watch it. And therefore, that's why it's not necessarily a machlekes tanoim. We could say opposite svaras to say why would it be only in that case of chatzir, opposite either whether that only there you'd be chayiv or only there you'd be potter, versus that wouldn't prove anything regarding the case of Hanach. Now we had in the Mishnah that we said halveo ala mashkin. If a guy lent someone on security, we said he has the halacha like a shomer sacher. So we're just going to start here the Gemara. The Gemara says le masnitin deloy Rabbi Eliezer. Let's say the Mishnah is not like Rabbi Eliezer. Why? We time to learn the Braisa, Hamaves Chaveri ala Mashkin. Someone lends his friend money on security, says, you want a $100 loan, give me your watch. Vavada Mashkin. And then the lender loses the security. He loses the guy's watch that he's holding on to. Says the Braisa, Yishava. So he has to swear that he was not negligent, because this Malva, the lender, is a shemechin, is an unpaid custodian on the guy's watch. Because a person doesn't take the guy's watch for collection. It's just that he wants to be guaranteed he's going to get his $100 back, that the guy shouldn't deny it. But he's not getting paid for this. So if it gets lost, he's going to be a shemechin, because even if it got lost, he'll get collected from somewhere else. He's not holding on to it for collection. There's no benefit of holding on to it. So he swears that he was not negligent, and he gets his money back. I mean, he's potter because it was a geneva, it was Veda, so you're potter as a shemechinam. And then you collect your money of the loan. That's the Rabbi Eliezer, which again seems like not like our Mishnah, because our Mishnah was saying when you lend on security, you're not a shemechin, you're shemesacher. B'kivaim says no. The borrower could tell the lender, why do you lend to me? Only because I gave you security. Avid mashkin, avid mosecha. I mean, you are gaining something from the security. The security is lost, your money is lost. But if he lent him 1,000 zuz in a document, and still they made a security, the Rakol, according to everyone, of the mashkin, of the Mo'isav, if he lose the mashkin, he would lose the money. Why? Because Rashi explains, this security must be that he took for collection purposes to be able to collect from it. Because when you write a document, you already have a lien on his property, you have where to collect, and you're already confident. And the guy can't deny it anymore because it's a shtar. So obviously, the reason why you have the security is not just to remember the truth. It must be because you want somebody to collect from. Oh, that's already a shemer sacher. But this is where we'll stop over here. The Gemara says it sounds like that our Mishnah that says that when you lend on security, that it's shemer sacher is not like Rabbi Eliezer, who seems to say clearly that you are a shemer chinim, and then you're going to be potter on Geneva Veda, not like the halacha by Mishnah. Thank you for any time for hosting us.